I honestly believe the best investment that you can make is in your career.
Hello and welcome to Super Insider, a cracker. We've got a celebrity, I would say, on Super Insider today for all of you podcasters out there that geek out on all things money. And Glen James is in the house on Super Insider. Wow.
Hey, Anne, how are you?
Yeah, I'm like totally pumped that we got you into the Super Insider studio.
Well, I'm equally pumped because your lovely team let me use the studio before us.
So there you go.
It is wonderful.
Oh, it's a beautiful virtuous circle.
Yep.
Well, listeners and viewers, g'day. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm the host of Super Insider. It's really cool that you're joining us today. We are, of course, talking about things that are general information and general advice only. So you'll need to make sure if it's right for you. But really, the point of this podcast is for any of you out there that think, oh my God, I have left it too late. I've missed the boat. I'm stuffed financially, because we are here to say that's not true.
Yeah, and thanks for having me on, Anne, in seriousness, because it's a great discussion to talk to people who are, by nature, if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably not left behind, because you think of 10 people that you know, they're probably not listening to a Super Insider podcast. So
Correct.
That's number one.
People are much better at applying that mindset to their health than their finances,
Yeah.
I find. And maybe it's because you've got to buy a new wardrobe because you're getting larger than you want to be, or because a part of your body's aching so much that you have to deal with it.
We're not talking about me, though.
No, I am talking about me. But I think that's probably part of it.
Yeah.
It's much easier to kind of ignore the future you because it's actually not causing that kind of physical discomfort.
Well, it's that psychology. You know, it's the whole, people end up in credit card debt because, I can do this now, I'll sort it out tomorrow.
Yeah.
And what happens, we end up tomorrow with money that we've overspent and we can't shake it. But what if we inverted that and do the you of tomorrow a favour today? And that can be at whatever age.
So let's talk about that then,
Yeah.
and start with the components of what the steps you would take if you're feeling like you're letting yourself down, not happy with where I'm at financially, and I'm feeling really despondent and feel like giving up. And so we want to take you through the steps so that you don't feel like that. Step number one is all about your career, is it not?
Yeah, I think
Or your job, even if you don't feel like you have a career.
that's right. And it's an interesting discussion there, because we might have different jobs within our careers, or we like what we do, but we might need to change employees in the same career or industry. But I wrote a book called Sort Your Career Out and Make More Money. And I wrote that as a prequel to my first book, Sort Your Money Out, because I honestly believe the best investment that you can make is in your career. It could be a good flashpoint and a good time to have this conversation for people. Well, I like to have the mindset of, we're here now, let's change something and get on with it. Now, if we're not happy with different parts of our life, we can't necessarily change it overnight, but what we can do is we can put a little plan in place and just make daily steps to get there, because in a year's time, the time is going to be past anyway. So the question is, let's do a bit of an audit on some key areas of our life.
Yes.
So it could be our job, our career, could be our cash flow and spending plan. You might audit your health, you might audit relationships, do a bit of an audit on your life. But today we're talking about the money side. And let's have a look at some low-hanging fruit of things that we can just slowly change to slowly make things better for us. And with the job and the career thing, whether you work 9 to 5 or you have a big business and you're making millions of dollars a year and all that stuff.
Or you're a shift worker.
Whatever
or you're
the
self-employed.
Yep. Any type of situation, it doesn't matter. That's before the fact. After the fact, we've all got personal expenses, rent, mortgage, groceries, fuel, entertainment. We need to understand that the money that's coming into our personal life, it doesn't matter where it came from. And a lot of the pain points in our life, it could be some structural issues. It could be high income, high expenses. We feel poor. We could literally be overspending. Or we could actually extract some more value in our financial life from our career or our job. Generally with our investing, we'll use an example, $10,000 invested. We don't necessarily want to have that $10,000 invested, if that was our total investment amount, to try and get a 100% return, right? Because that $10,000 would turn into $20,000, 100% return. That's very, very risky, and we don't want to hang around there with our investing. We might with a portion of our funds, but not with our whole portfolio. And the reason I say that our career is most important is because what if we were working hard and we maybe did some upskilling or tried to apply for an internal job or get a pay rise to earn an extra $10,000 a year? You don't have to hang around this high risk part where you could get absolutely flushed to get that $10,000. We could get it from our job, and it's going to be an annuity that keeps coming.
That's true.
Now,
yes.
And a lot of people will say, that's nice, Glen, but I'm a teacher, I'm a nurse, I'm a public sector employee, I'm a corporate, we're on pay bands. I can't just go and get a pay rise. And I'm going, aha, you've now entered the chat of a career discussion, not a job discussion. What do you want to do with your career? If you're happy working at your job, and a lot of people are, the money might not be able to come from there. That might mean we need to optimize the other side of the ledger, which is our spending. So a lot of moving parts, but I'm a big believer the best investment we'll make is in our career, because most people, most of the time, if they work hard, increase a pay band, get a pay rise, the next year they're not going to drop back down. So that increase is locked in.
True. It is true. And I agree with you, though the feminist in me...
Yeah, go for it. Let's go.
Well, just, society values different professions. Brian and I talk about it. And money is really impactful in terms of people's emotional well-being. But you've also got to be happy at work as well. And this is this whole point around your point around trade-off with spending, because if you love what you do and it's just for whatever reason the pay is what it is, to your point, don't give up. There's other levers you can pull.
There's 4 broad levers that we can pull in our personal budget. Number 1 could be increase income. So it could be I'm on a fixed salary, but I need to get more money. I may have to do some after hours, pour beers at a pub or whatever. Or might be off the table. You might have young kids and there's no time to increase income. The second lever that you can pull, which is, I don't think it's ideal and it should be a last resort, would be to decrease your savings, okay? The third lever that you can pull in your budget is to review a line item. So we'll use an example. I always get crucified for this, but we'll call it the health and fitness. So I pay for a gym membership, I pay for Pilates, and I pay for a personal trainer. What you might do...
None of those are true for me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm doing group training and I rarely go. One thing that to review that line item, you might say, well, it is important to me, but I'm going to actually drop the PT and the gym membership and just go to Pilates. So you reviewed that line item. The fourth lever that you can pull is to actually cut something out completely. So you might say, I'm just going to go for a run around the block once a day. So you can
walk the dogs.
Yeah, all that. So there are levers in our budget that we can pull. You might pull all of them at the same time, then pull the lever of saving less.
Have you spoken to your viewership around kind of the impact of us being a cashless society on this? Because I think about the subscriptions that my family has accumulated. When I won't rattle them all off because it's almost terrifying, and then the effort you've got to go to cancel them, and then someone renew. Like there's all with this cashless society now. It's very hard to keep track of your kind of expenditure. So what do you tell your listeners about that? Yeah, so what I tell people to do, and I'm not above this, I did a bit of an audit the other day and I was collecting subscriptions. And for whatever reason, I was paying for Apple and Spotify.
got rid of them all. I was already paying for YouTube Premium that included YouTube Music. So what it is, with our budget and spending, I teach to do a spending plan. I've got a free online course called the Glen James Spending Plan. I'll walk you through a spreadsheet because I really think, like our fitness, we cannot outsource our fitness to a diet shake. You've actually got to do the hard work. You've got to eat less junk, exercise. So I don't think we can outsource our budget and our spending plan to an app or a bank software. It's a tool. What I teach people is to actually put all the numbers out, and on the Glen James Spending Plan spreadsheet, the first tab you put all your income in, and your spouse's income, whether it's weekly, fortnightly. The second tab, all our expenses.
That would take a long time though. But is that probably the point that you start building that awareness?
And what I tell people is, because they'll be like, all right, what's your annual rates or something, or your quarterly rates if you own a house?
Yeah.
Like if you ask me, they're like, I don't know. But let's make a guess and put a bit of a structure in place. The third tab will tell us how much it costs us to wake up every morning, if there's any money left over, and what amounts to put in what bank accounts each week. All that to say is, in terms of reviewing, because our budget and our spending plan is a breathing and living document. Things change. Every year our insurances may increase.
The washing machine breaks.
All that stuff. So when you have a big event like getting your annual insurance renewal, I'll update my spending plan and spreadsheet. So I say put the spreadsheet on Google or Microsoft Teams in the cloud. So it's a live document, and just always adjust. We don't have to look at it weekly, but if you get the email from a subscription service, say we're increasing it $3 a month, use that as a flashpoint to review that line item, and you get results in your life with what you pay attention to.
Which is why we have a big blue monster hopefully, around the place that people pay attention to their super. Because, this is the time of year where people feel broke because they're buying presents and there's dinner. It's just expensive time of year. Is that you actually, even if you can't afford to put in extra money, you've gone and done your budget. To your point around the $10,000 and risk, there are still other levers you can pull if you feel like your superannuation isn't as large, the balance is what you want it to be. You can't afford to make voluntary contributions, but don't give up because there's other things you can do.
That's right. And, back to the question that we kind of teased at the start, I feel left behind. I feel, number one, and it's human nature to want to compare. Life's pretty equal for most people in terms of if you got a job and you got income and expenses, right? What can you do to turn off the noise? And
consistent rather than equal, maybe.
Yes, that's probably a better word.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is, you may see somebody like, oh, they've got such a great income, they're just crushing it.
Yeah.
But you look over, you don't know that they've got a medical thing and it's costing them $1,000 a month for this treatment. You don't know if there's a behind the scenes battle, they can't start a family. We've all got our thing, and often our thing is not seen. So that's why we really have to step back and focus on our own situation and what we can control. Now,
wise words.
When it comes to I'm feeling left behind, and you might not, and this is crazy, right? I talk about the lazy way.
I like lazy.
Yeah.
Lazy works for me.
This is like the absolute lazy way to ensure that you spend less than what you earn and you end up with a lot of money in retirement. So what you do, you have a rule in your life. We do not use any type of consumer debt at all. We don't go into any type of debt. No credit cards, buy now, pay later. You may even take it as far. We don't even have a flippin' money system. We've got one account. It's messy, whatever. But your household, you decide we're going to salary sacrifice an extra X amount per week into your superannuation on top of your employer contribution. So year on year, there is extra money being invested for your future. You're paying less tax. You're living on less than what you earn outside of super. If you just did that for the rest of your life, you'll be fine. You won't be backwards.
I've never heard salary sacrifice described as lazy, but I'm totally loving it. I'm getting what it really is.
So then the question is if you just salary sacrifice extra money and kept out of consumer debt. Yeah, so when I teach the Glen James spending plan, I don't like the word budget because it's restrictive. And full disclosure, hi, I'm Glen. I'm a recovering spender. So if there's money near me, it grows legs fast.
Yeah.
Have a good time while we're at it.
Burns a hole in your pocket, as they say.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
So I talk about a system that uses multiple accounts and 2 different banks. So my pay goes into what I call a cash hub, and that's an offset account. So all income goes into there, all fixed expenses
Come out of that.
Yep. So fixed expenses, my rent,
All those bills, all that. Yep.
anything fixed.
Yep.
Now, whether I get paid fortnightly, monthly, or weekly into that cash hub, I've got a weekly amount that on a Wednesday I transfer over to my other bank,
Which is called your play money.
my entertainment money. Literally, I only use that for fuel, food, entertainment, pickleball once a week, going out.
Go if you see a nice shirt.
Yeah, I do have a little clothing thing, but
Okay.
you
a
can
clothing account.
Yep.
Okay.
Gifts, clothes, holidays, Christmas.
Ah.
Because those 4 things generally always happen in our lives, so we
Yes.
should be able to have a bit of an allocation.
Okay.
But the key is, I have a fun money account. I call it the weekly spend account. So I might get, and I get paid Fridays into my cash hub, and then on Wednesdays there's an amount that goes to my other thing. Now the thing is, on my phone, the only card that I have is this card here.
So you can't.
So, and now this is the cool thing. Hi, I'm Glen, a recovering spender. This gives me boundaries. If I spend too much,
What happens?
having a system that's quarantined and structured will give the savers permission to spend.
Which is nice, right? Because everyone, people work hard. To the conversation earlier about getting a promotion,
Yeah.
that's probably why people spend a lot, because people are working harder than they probably ever have. If you think of previous generations and
Yeah.
with phones following you around, emails
Yep.
never stop.
And this is the whole magical thing. I've been saying lately, you've got to keep fundamentals away from religion and politics. You look at the fundamentalists either side, it's wild.
Yes.
But with our money, I think we can be fundamental. We spend less than what we earn, we invest the rest.
So really,
Rinse and repeat.
it's not rocket science, really,
No.
is what you're saying.
It's rocket surgery.
That's right. But the thing is, too, and we speak about this much, that money makes people emotional. They probably are just in a cycle they maybe learned from their parents.
Yep.
When people are stressed, some people eat, some people spend.
Yeah.
Some people save. And so probably actually being aware of what your own reaction and relationship is with money is probably very important.
And we
as
need
part
to
of
know
this.
our own proclivity, whether we are a spender or a saver or, land anywhere in the middle. So you have to build a system around your money personality and how you do things. And I was actually just thinking before, back to that person who, loves what they do. They might not have a high income. I reckon there's a point there as well, removing the structural things in society that house prices are cooked, rent's cooked, all that stuff. I've got a friend, Nico, ever since he was 18, he's like, I just want to have a family and lots of kids. And
Oh, cute.
yeah, and he's got 2 little girls and a dog called Frank. And
I've got a husband called Frank.
well, there you go.
There we go. She's
and
Nico.
Nick's like, I've never actually wanted the career. I just want to go to work, have a decent income, and spend time with my family. The trap is, and the advantage to Nick is he owns that. Where if you're spending a lot of time online, you spend 10 minutes on TikTok or Instagram, and it's like, oh, what? I need to become an entrepreneur with a private jet and take over the world and start a business. Like, find your lane, own it, live in it, spend less than you earn, and try and invest the rest.
So
and you'll probably have a good life.
Yeah. Well, my husband was a stay-at-home dad for 10 years.
Yeah.
And didn't. So I would say it's that message back to fundamentals. From a fundamental point of view, being at peace with yourself and without sounding a bit Oprah New Age, actually just kind of knowing yourself and loving yourself and going, I know what I love, I know what makes me happy. then you have that as a fundamental base. So therefore, then you feel empowered to make all these good kind of fundamental financial decisions, so that you're just ultimately at peace.
I was a practicing financial advisor for like 15 years.
I know. I remember years ago.
And one of the most amazing stories that I always remember, I had clients, they were in their early 50s. They were school teachers, and they retired at 60, 65, and they had quite a lot of money in their super account. The amount doesn't actually matter because relatively to where they lived, they saved, they didn't have the debt and the car loans and all that. But you know what their whole financial strategy was for like 20 years? They just salary sacrificed to super. But I've just been such a big believer in super. I was talking to someone the other day, and he said to me, and it's weird, he goes, I don't believe in super. I'm like, why? It's just a tax structure. Just shut him up. And back to these clients, it was just a fundamental, slow, steady, let time do its thing. And they had lots of money.
And that is the beauty of super. It's 32 years old. We are, like, for the first time in my family's history, like, families are retiring with a pot of money that never happened before in the history of Australia, and it's democratized. We all own unlisted, we own airports, we own all sorts of things. It's like super cool.
So in my life, again, fundamentally, people say, what's your financial plan, Glen? And I'm like, I just do 3 things. Really simple. I give some, I save some, and I spend some. Just in that order. Every month I've got charity that I give to, donations. I'm a big believer in helping others. And people listening, I don't have money to give. You might not now, but you've got a smile. You can cook someone a meal. You can give blood. So I think in my life, giving is a big part. So I give some, save some. The save some isn't just money in a bank account. That's investing for the Glen of tomorrow. I always cap out super first, because and again, people get their knickers in a knot around super, but my question is always a fundamental one. Do you want to pay more tax or less tax with this money that you invest for the long term? For me, I'll probably pay the less tax. A lot of people also, I want to invest for the long term. What should I do? I'm like, if only we had a long-term investment account already set up. If only.
That then puts compounding interest or compounding returns on steroids.
Yeah. So I give some, I save some. And once we cap out a super account, it's probably less common than more common for most people. Maybe in the throes of working in their 40s and 50s to put non-concessionals in. There could be part of a strategy coming up to 60 that might be used, but in the main, I think we cap out our super potentially, and then we might invest elsewhere.
And if you're thinking you're not an investor, you are an investor.
Everyone
because
is.
Everybody is. Look, money is all about people kind of taking control of their finances, and that's why we've got you on the show today, because our whole mission at Australian Retirement Trust is inspiring confidence and awakening people's financial future, and superannuation is a massive part of that. What is your one final message to our listeners and viewers, which I might just brag are just going off the Richter scale, so it's cool. So everyone is following my instructions to tell family and friends.
Love it.
Yeah, it's good. So tell me, what's the message for them?
My message is to swing back and, like, I look back when I was 30, right? I met someone who was 30, and I'm like, far out, if only I did that when I was 30. And then I was thinking, as I said before, just yesterday, I'm 41. Someone who's 51 is probably saying to themselves now, well, I wish I'd done something at 41. So we're living in the past of our future self, how can we tweak some things because the time's passing anyway? And if you're not happy with a situation in your life, be it your job, your career, because there's two different things there, your money situation, if you're in this cycle of debt, credit cards, make the decision. And this is we don't want to do it all at once because we want the habits to stick. Keep using your credit card, knock yourself out, but come next year, make the decision, I'm no longer doing that. Try the Glen James spending plan.
Okay.
If it doesn't work, you can go back to your way. But if you're a bit sloppy with the money...
and you're unhappy about it,
yeah,
you've got to do something
you've got to
about
try
it.
something different. So do the you of tomorrow a favour today. And I think treat your money like it's alive. You can't command your money if you don't respect it as well. So you have to really...
You can't command your money if you don't respect it, and treat the you of tomorrow like you want...
give the you of tomorrow a favour today.
That's quite profound. I love it. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So, listeners and viewers, this has been like a really big episode of lots of different themes. Keep telling your family and friends about Super Insider. Glen, thank you for coming up from Newcastle to Brisbane.
Brisneyland, as they call it.
I didn't know Brisneyland, Vegas,
Yeah.
whatevs. Yes, but thank you very much. Listeners and viewers, thank you for joining us, and make sure you catch up on our other episodes of Super Insider, and we'll catch you again soon.